In this training session, we will be going over the Composer module. We will cover everything from navigation to structuring your emails and creating content. We will also cover previewing and testing your emails before publication. When you first log in, access the Composer module via the top left-hand corner here. Go to the menu and click on the first option, which is Email Composer. When you first go into the Composer module, you'll be brought to what we call the email page. On the email page, you have 4 simple tabs: My Emails, All Emails, Sample Emails, as well as Publishing Queue. All of the Composer documents that are in your account, whether they are for events purposes, newsletters, or quick alerts, will all be kept in the Emails tab. The first tab is My Emails. This contains all email documents that you've created yourself, or that you have cloned yourself. Next tab over will be All Emails, and this will be all the emails that yourself or your colleagues have created in this account. Next tab over will be Sample Emails. These are documents that our team have created that you are free to use. The very last tab is the Publishing Queue. This is where all the documents that you've scheduled to publish in the future will appear. From this view, you'll be able to edit any of your published documents. You can cancel any publications that are set to go out in the future. I'm going to hop into my Emails tab here. In this view, you can see the 3 documents that I've created previously. Your emails are further categorized within separate folders. There are also filters that you can use to view only specific emails that meet certain criteria. The very first filter you have is All Emails, and it will bring up published and unpublished documents. Any published documents are emails that have already been sent. Unpublished here means any emails that have not yet been sent. The next filter you'll be able to apply will be for folders. You can see all folders that you have created, as well as the default folder. Please note that all of these folders are separate from your events folder and your newsletter folders. The Email Composers folders are kept entirely independent of all other modules. You will be able to create as many emails as you like, as well as different folders in order to organize all of your content. On the right-hand side here, you can see that we are in the thumbnail view. So this view gives you small thumbnail previews of all your emails at once. It will also give you the name of the emails and info on who it was created by and when it was last edited. You have the option to see your emails in a list view. If you click this, you'll see your document names, whether or not the document is locked, who created it, and who edited it last as well. You can also see the file size of the email here. Please note that if your email size is particularly large, it will appear in red. If it's over 300 kilobytes or so, you may want to look into the content of your email. You should be concerned about the size of your email, as if it is large, it will hurt deliverability. They will fill up your readers' mailboxes, create soft bounces, or depending on your readers, get junked. Next is the size column, then the created on information, and last, updated details. If your document has been published in the past, you'll also see when it was last published. If you use the Events module, you can link your documents to particular events. The Event column will show the details of which event your document has been linked to. You will also be able to see which documents have been linked to your events from within the Events module. Again, I want to note that a folder in the Email Composer is separate from the folders in the Events module. After the Events column, you'll see a column for comments. These are internal comments that you can associate with a document. You can use this to make references to what content is about and how the email is intended to be used. It can also be used for any additional notes that you want to make. Next to this will be the text version column, and you always want your document's text version to be on auto. This will enable your documents to be automatically published as both HTML or text only, depending on your individual recipient's preference. Some of your readers may have accessibility issues, which restricts them to only text versions of content. Readers can set this preference themselves after receiving any published email. When an email is received, a reader can click on the automatically generated link. If you prefer to receive text-only emails, please click here. You can test the emails you create in Composer. Simply click Test here. Then specify your test settings. You will be asked if you want to publish to a test group or yourself. If you wish to test the text version of the email, you can check this box. To send the test, press send, and your email will immediately broadcast to the recipients you specified. The very last column here is publish. Inside the green box, you'll see a number that will indicate the amount of times this document has been published. If your documents have not been published in the past, these will appear as 0. If you want to publish it, you simply click on the green box and that will take you to the publishing page. The functions inside the publishing page are exactly as you would have seen in the past with Events Publisher or the Newsletter Publisher. It will simply have an updated interface, which I'll go through later on. There are additional options for editing your document and content here. This button allows you to delete the document. You can click Reports to view the publication stats for already sent emails. To the right here, you can clone your document, move it to a different folder, rename it, and transfer it to another user. Clicking on any of these options will provide a pop-up where you'll have the ability to specify further details before performing the action. It will ask you for a new name to rename the document, whether you want to move it to a new folder, and also whether or not you want to make a clone to edit separately. If you do uncheck this option, it will simply move the document to a new folder or change the name of the document. Now, in most cases, you will have a demo document created for you. This will use a branded template unique to your account. You'll simply have to clone existing demos and replace the content. However, today we'll be going over creating a brand new document from scratch, so to understand the functionality that is available. To create a brand new document, go to the far right hand side where it says New Email. Click on this and it will come up with two options for you to choose from. There will be an option to choose your wireframe, which is the general structure of your email. In this case, by default, the single column with the left-hand sidebar or the right-hand sidebar is selected. There may also be custom wireframes available to you depending on how your account was set up. You also have the option to choose a theme. The theme will decide the different visual styles you'll be able to apply to your content. The styles will determine the colors, font faces, and font sizes that you'll be able to apply to certain parts of your content. Today I'm choosing a single column wireframe, and I'm also going to choose this Swift Digital default theme. Now I'm able to press OK, which will confirm and create a brand new document. You will now be taken to the Composer editor. When you first go into the Email Composer editor, you'll be presented with a blank canvas. There will be a blank header, a blank content section, and a blank footer. You'll be able to distinguish which content areas belong to the header, main, or footer regions by observing these H and F symbols to the side here. All content is created within this wireframe in what we call a grid system. There are rows and there are content blocks that can be assigned to any of these rows. As you can see, we have currently 4 rows. We have the top one, which is for the header, middle rows for the main body content, and a row for your footer. At the very bottom of this wireframe, you can see that we have populated the content with your company's details as well as a mandatory unsubscription link. You will have to include an unsubscribe link in your documents before you're allowed to publish them. You'll notice here that whenever I hover over a particular row, there are options that appear to allow me to add another row. The row can be a single column, 2 column, 3 column, or 4 column, above or below. You can see if I click it, it will add a brand new row. Whenever you create a new row, you'll see an indication of how many content blocks you can add within it. You can see in this case that we've added a 2-column row into our document, allowing us to add 2 blocks of content. This row is blank at the moment, but you can see on the left-hand side there are different options for content blocks to add. The most common ones you will end up using are the image block and the article block. In this example, I'm going to start by adding a header image. I'm going to click on the image block, click and drag this through to the right-hand side, and click Add a Placeholder Image. As you can see here, the placeholder displays the dimensions of the image itself, so 650 pixels by 60 pixels. In most cases, you need only be concerned with the width of your image. It's important to ensure your content is restricted to the recommended widths of your wireframe so that it doesn't skew the layout of the email. The reason why I specifically note the width and not the height is that the height will simply push your content downwards if it is a little taller. Now that we have added a content block here, when I click on it, to the right hand side you'll see options to edit the content of this particular block. The first option here allows you to specify the image which displays in this image block. If you have an image you wish to use from elsewhere on the web, you can fill this second field with the image URL. However, you can upload an image directly or locate an already uploaded image by clicking this image icon to the right hand side here. This will provide a little pop-up allowing you to access images from your art library. If you have plenty of images in your art library, search for keywords. When you upload your images to the art library, you are asked to tag them to make this process easier. I'm going to go ahead and select this image here. It should be over at the right hand side. Now, I will select this image by clicking this checkbox here. To insert the image into the block, I'll now click Select. Once the image has been inserted, an additional option appears allowing you to hyperlink the image to a URL address of your choice. You can choose for your image to link to a specific website or a file download. I'm going to link the image to a website. When this email is being viewed on, the reader will have the ability to click on the image to be taken to this specific address. Here is an option for specifying alternative text for your image if it is not displayed. This is useful for readers who do not preload the images in your email due to the email client they are using, for example Outlook or the Mail app on Mac OS X, or for those with accessibility issues using a screen reader. In those cases, you'll want to use alt text to give your reader some context as to what the image is about. Alt text is also checked by web email clients such as Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo to make sure all of the content inside your email is appropriate. If you don't have alternative text, it may decrease the deliverability and accessibility of your email. Lastly, you have the option to add a caption to appear beneath your image. It might not be necessary most of the time. For example, like this banner image does not need caption text, but if you use a presenter image or a picture of a particular artwork, you may want to give a description. Anything you type in this field will automatically display as a caption below the image to the left. Finally, the last option that you see is for specifying the image size. Currently, we have checked Stretch to Fit, which will stretch the image to fit the block, regardless of its size. Using Stretch to Fit works best with high-quality images. For example, a large image that is shrunk to fit will look a lot better than a small image that is stretched to fit. In the case where your image is not stretched, but rather placed within the block, you have options for editing the alignment of your image here. Let's move on to the new content block type. The article block type is one you will likely use very often. It is the very first option that you see on the left-hand side. I'm going to click and drag that one in and drop it on our main body section. The block will populate with header text and body text. You'll see on the right-hand side fields to edit the content of your block. In the title field, I'm going to type in the header text I want to appear. Secondly, populate your body text. I'm going to copy and paste some text over. You can see to the right-hand side here that there are other layout options for your article block. At the moment, we're simply using text only, but you will also have the option to choose from an additional 6 layouts. Some options enable you to include images in your article. In this case, I'm going to choose a layout with a top right-hand corner placed image with no text wrap. Additional settings will appear, allowing you to insert an image and edit how it displays. I'm going to go ahead and select an image to insert. I'll click here and select a specific image. Note that in this case, there is no option to stretch to fit. In this case, it is a word wrapping image, and it will appear in its original dimensions. If you choose an article layout in which the image appears above the text, your image will be resized to stretch across the width of the block. In this case, it stretches all the way across the template. If you want to change it back to word wrap, simply select the layout type in the top right here. In terms of text editing, I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of these different tools that we have available. The toolbar will be the same as the Office module that you've used in the past. You'll have the option to bold text and so on. There are other options here that have unique functionality. For example, personalization. Let's say in my email I want to greet my reader by their first name, like hi so and so. To do this, click in the presentation field at the very bottom here. Once you've clicked Personal field, you'll have an option appear here allowing you to specify the contact field you'll be pre-populating this personalization with. Your contact fields are the fields you have in your database, or Mailhouse. We'll go in here and we will select first name. In the case that a recipient's first name cannot be found in your Mailhouse, you'll want an alternative text to appear. Simply type in the alternative text that will appear if a first name cannot be found here. Now click Insert. It will come up as a string of code and in blue. The blue indicates that this personalization is currently working and it will show you the particular field being used. In this case, the first name field. In the same vein, you'll have the option to pull through event fields. If you have used the Events module before, you are familiar with event variables that you use to dynamically populate your invite's content with event details. You can do the same here. I'm going to click Event field. Choose the event from which you wish to pull through its details, and underneath, you can choose from your objects, so the actual details from the event, whether it's presented info or notes. In this case, I'm going to go to Events and I'll choose Date. You again have the option to specify alternative text. In this case though, the event date would never be blank. So I'm just going to press Insert. Again, it's going to generate a little string of code. A functionality new to the Composer editor is the link option. This link function is different from the usual hyperlink option that you use to hyperlink text. The link option underneath here will allow you to insert a link related to your account. In most cases, we don't expect you to know the URL for things such as the subscribe link, forward to friend link, and so on. I will press link and a pop-up will appear giving a range of different options. You can see in this list we have links for back to top, forward to a friend, print, share, subscribe, and unsubscribe. You can see above here that there are 4 tabs, one of which is emails. These are other email documents you have in the Composer module. You can insert links to the web versions of these emails. Next you have pages. These are static pages that are set up from other templates. For example, if you have a static page that was set up in your account, such as a branded forward to a friend or unsubscribe landing page, you can insert a link to any of them from here. Next you have options to link to event pages, such as registration forms, decline pages, and Google Maps venue pages. Lastly, you'll also have the option to link to any of your surveys, given that you use the Survey module and have live surveys to link to. In this case, I might select a survey to link to. We'll click into that and you'll see that the text pulls through the survey's name, but you can edit this to customize the link text. As you edit some of your documents, you'll notice that the content you see on the right-hand side does not always match the content that appears on the left-hand side. You can see that there are different styles that you can apply. In all of your blocks, you'll always have the option to edit style here. When you click into styles, you'll be able to quickly apply different colors or fonts to this content block. In this case, we have style 1 down to style 7. These are all unique to the specific theme that you choose for this document. In this case, I will use this style. After I select this, it will update the background color as well as the header color and the body color. Underneath these style options, you have further customization options allowing you to tweak the colors. If you do want to change any of these colors, you simply click on the color dropper to the right here. It will bring up a little color wheel that you can use to choose a color from, or you can enter in a hex or RGB value. For example, if I wanted to add in a blue color, I'd simply choose from the color wheel and go down to the bottom right and click Use. If you think that you'll use this particular color quite often, you'll have the option to save the color for future use by clicking this Save button here. In this case, I'm just clicking Use. Underneath the coloring options, you have the option to choose how much padding you want in this block. Padding is like margins that border your content. If you want to add additional padding, for example, you'll simply tweak the number value to the left-hand side here. The last function we are going to cover here is the Read More button. The Read More button enables you to cut down long articles so that a link needs to be clicked in order to expand its full length. This is great for when readers first open an email and may just want a brief overview of every article. To insert a Read More into your story, go to the Editor's tools here. Place your cursor within the content that you want the Read More to appear. Any text following the Read More will be hidden until the link is clicked to expand the story. In this case, I'm going to add it right above the last paragraph. Now click the Read More button and it's going to ask for the text for the button. I'm going to have it say Learn More. And now I click Insert and the button appears in the content. When a recipient receives this email, the story will look as it does to the left-hand side here. When they click the Read More button, it will expand the content of this particular story to show all the content underneath. I'm now going to go through the content block options available in Composer. I'm now going to add a YouTube content block. If you have used Newsletter, Office, or Events before, you know that to embed a YouTube video in your emails, you have to work around the fact that most email browsers don't allow embedded video. Embedded videos simply don't display in most email browsers. This YouTube content block works around the restrictions automatically, meaning that you can provide the link to your video and the Composer will do the rest, making it look as though the video is embedded. When you provide a YouTube video link, Composer will generate a thumbnail of the video to display in your content. Next, you simply enter in the URL address of your video. You can include a caption to display under your video's thumbnail by typing in something here. If you want to change and use different colors or styles, you'll be able to do so through the Style tab. The next content block type is the navigation bar. This block allows you to insert a nav bar on top of the document so that your readers can easily access other pages and sites. Let's click and drag this block type over and you'll notice it has 3 links by default: Home, About Us, and Contact. You can customize these links, what they say, and where they go to the right-hand side here. If you need to add additional options, you'll be able to do so through the Add Link option here. If you need to change the alignment of any of the navigational text, you can do so through these alignment options up top. The next content block type is for quick links. I'm going to click and drag this quick links block into my email. Quick links is most used in newsletter type documents. It generates a links title automatically, but this can be edited. You can also type out some introductory text as well. Otherwise, it just pre-populates with links to each of the stories within your newsletter. In this case, we only have one article block, which is the introduction, so you can see it generated a link for it. If there are other articles appearing in quick links that you don't want there, you can edit each article block's corresponding quick link by editing the article blocks themselves. Click into an article block and you'll see the quick link checkbox to the right here. If you uncheck this checkbox, this article won't be listed in quick links. The next checkbox is for enabling social media sharing of this article. If you check this box, it will add little social media icons to the bottom left of this particular article. This enables readers to share the story with their own Facebook friends, Twitter followers, or LinkedIn contacts. If you want to enable your readers to share the entire email and not just specific stories, you can achieve this by using a Share Content block. I'm going to insert one underneath the navigation bar. Once again, just drag and drop the content block into your content. It pre-populates with sharing options across Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Also included is print and forward to a friend. If you want to remove any of these social media sharing options, you can do so by clicking the settings cog in the very top right-hand corner of your preview. When you hover over it, it will say Email Settings. Under Settings, there are numerous tabs allowing you to customize your entire document in an array of ways. The first tab allows you to edit what theme your document is using. If you choose a theme halfway through editing a document, it will update all of the styles which you may have already set per article. But note that you cannot use styles from 2 different themes at once. From this second drop-down, you can select Landing Page Layouts. This will allow you to customize the static pages that are generated for each document. If you weren't aware, every document you create will have static pages associated with it, such as a forward to a friend or the subscribe or unsubscribe pages. If you don't select a specific layout for your landing pages, they will use the header and footer that you've set in your document. The next field here is only relevant for events users. This enables you to link this document with a specific event that you have created. It's great to link your document under Settings, as when you use content blocks related to events, they will automatically pull through your event details. Now back to editing the social media sharing options. You simply go to the next tab over from emails called Icons, and you can use these checkboxes to specify which social media icons appear. In this case, if you uncheck Twitter, it will update the share blocks as well as the share icons inside your article blocks to remove that particular option. If you do have branded social media icons, you can also replace the existing icons with your own. You do this simply by going to the right-hand side and looking through the art library for your desired image. The next content block is the poll. You simply click and drag this block into your content to add a poll to your email. You can specify a title for your poll, as well as the question that you want to ask. You'll be able to provide the choices for your poll here. If you do additional choices, you simply go to the very bottom here where it says Add Choice and type in a new choice. If you want to remove an option, you simply go to the right-hand side and click on Remove icon. The poll's overall look is specified by the chosen style. Once again, you can edit the style of this block here. At the moment, there isn't an option for you to directly change the colors of the polls button. You will only be able to choose the background color, the header color, and the body color. If you do need a particular color for your buttons, you will need to discuss that with your account manager. The next content block is the events calendar. This will be very useful for clients that run lots of events. Click and drag this block in. The block appears as a little calendar that you can customize. You can edit the calendar's title and introductory text, and you can choose a calendar available to you from your events module. Firstly, click this little calendar icon. It will ask you to specify which calendar you wish to generate this block with. Click Select and the calendar block will populate with all the events that are in the chosen calendar. On the right-hand side, there are further customization options. These allow you to pull through certain event details to your calendar block. In this case, I'm going to add event start time. You'll see that the calendar now displays event start times. You'll notice on the calendar in preview that each listed event is hyperlinked. When the reader clicks on any of these links, they will be brought to the corresponding registration form. If you don't run many events and instead want to provide registration for a single event in your email, you can use an RSVP block instead. Just click and drag this block into your content. Here is where you can specify a title for your RSVP content block. You can further customize with introductory text, and you can link your RSVP up with a specific event by choosing it here. Underneath here, you can also customize the text on your accept and decline buttons. You can include multiple RSVP blocks to different events in your email. All you need to do is drag and drop another RSVP content block in. You'll simply need it to link to a relevant event. The next content block is the Google Maps block. This allows you to embed an interactive Google map showcasing a location in your email. It does not need to be events venue related, so it can be the location of your office, for example. You'll notice that the content block has populated with Where to Find Us text, as well as further introductory text. You have the option here to customize the address being pinpointed by checking Free Form and entering the address below. You can edit how zoomed in the map is by playing with the scale here. The very last content block type is the archive block. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop it into my email. The archive block will list all previously published documents from the Composer module. It will not directly link to your newsletter or Office archives. Once again, you have the option to customize the text in your block to the side here. Below the text fields, you'll see the option to specify which published emails will display in this archive block. Simply click into this field and choose a folder from which to specify events. In this case, I'm going to choose a default folder. You'll see underneath it has the folder name, which is default, followed by the name of the documents. You can also see the description underneath and also the date on which each email was published. If you don't want certain details to display in the block, simply use these checkboxes. You'll also be able to change the order in which these emails are listed by selecting an order from this drop-down menu. Your options are reverse chronological, chronological, and alphabetical. That covers all of the content block options. However, there are a few other content editing tricks I'd like to show you. You can rearrange these content blocks at any time. When you hover over a block, you'll see a moving icon. If you click on this, you can click and drag the block to change where it appears. Secondly, if you use the same content for a particular block for every email, for example, the same information in your footer, you can actually save a block's content. Just click on the content block and to the right, select the Store tab. This will allow you to actually store this block's content as it is. Simply give the block a name to store it. I'm going to call it Footer Run Club. You can choose a folder for it to belong under. In this case, I'm going to choose Run Club, and then click Save. It looks like I actually used this name before, so I'm going to add a number 2 at the end, and it will tell you the block has been saved. Next time that you want to create a new email and you want to use this save block, first create a new row. You'll notice that on an empty row, there will always be a little arrow at the center of it. If you click on this arrow, a pop-up will appear with stored content blocks to populate the row with. I can see here the footer for Run Club that we just saved. You're going to check that box, click Load, and it will populate the row. You can do this on any document. It doesn't have to be the document from which you originally stored the content block. Lastly, we're going to cover saving and previewing your documents. If you want to save your document, you simply go to the top right-hand corner here where it says Save. When you first save, it's actually going to tell you how long you've been editing the document for and when it was last saved. The first time you save, you'll be asked to give the document a name. You must also choose a folder in which it will be stored. You can also create a brand new folder if you want to. So you just click here on this field and type out the new folder name. In this case, I'm going to call this document Run Club and give it a little description here. Again, this will be the description that will appear in Archive. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Once your document is saved, you'll be able to preview it in a variety of ways. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see the option to preview it as desktop. Click that, and what it's going to do is render the email and give you a simulation of what it will look like displaying on a desktop client. You can also view the web version of the document by clicking this web version text up here. You can also copy and paste the URL address of your web version to link to on your site, or to send as a hyperlink to colleagues. The next previewing option is for mobile. If you click that, it should display your preview in a small window. It will show you how your email will display on a mobile device. Note that all Composer documents will be mobile responsive by default. The only things you might need to be careful of will be images that are word wrapped. Those won't resize automatically, you will have to adjust those manually. Our desktop and mobile preview options will give you the general gist of how your email will display across devices. However, we recommend testing your emails thoroughly. To test your emails, you simply click this test icon in blue in the top right-hand corner. Again, it will simply have the same options that we've gone through earlier. We recommend you test in 4 different ways. You can test to yourself, your colleagues, or you can test to your personal email address to view it on an actual mobile device. Once you've tested your document a few times and made sure everything is looking right, you can go ahead and publish it. Go to the top right-hand corner here where you'll see a paper airplane icon. Click on that one and it'll go to a publishing page for this particular document. The publishing functions are exactly as you've seen in other modules. It simply has an updated interface. Here is the spam score. It gives you a rough estimate of how likely your email is going to be marked as spam. There is also a list of all the hyperlinks in your document, in case you want to make sure that they are all in working order. You'll also be notified if this document has an unsubscribe link. If it doesn't have an unsubscribe link, you will not be allowed to publish it. It also troubleshoots your event-related content. It'll tell you whether or not your calendar block is linked to a particular calendar, whether or not your RSVP blocks are linked to events, registration forms, etc. Here, you have the option to schedule this publication to broadcast now after you've confirmed or in the future. If you want to schedule for the email to publish later, simply click the calendar icon to the right. Choose a date from the pop-up calendar. If you want to change the time of the publication, click on the little clock underneath. Here you have the broadcast options. You have publish as email, publish to the web, and share across social media platforms. If you want to share across social media, you will have to have these networks integrated via the administration module first. When choosing an email format, you will mostly select HTML and text. That's where all the colors and different styles come into play. You can also customize the email pre-header, which is the little preview text that appears next to your email when viewed in the inbox list. Here you'll see a preview in pink text of how your email will appear in someone's inbox. If you want to customize exactly what the recipient sees, you can customize this text accordingly. You can also choose to throttle your send, so that means control the number of emails that go out per hour. Most people use throttling for one of two reasons. It's either to limit how many emails go out to a particular email server in the case of overload, and the other may be that you want to control the number of recipients that respond. For example, if your email is a call to action to call your offices, you may not want all 5,000 recipients calling you at once. Next, you'll specify the send mode. You can simply broadcast this email to all recipients at once or select A/B testing. A/B testing will allow you to test out different subject lines and consequently increase your open rate. When you send your email, it will send 10% of your recipient list the first subject line, another 10% subject line B, and another 10% subject line C. This will happen immediately once you actually publish the document. After a certain amount of time that you specify here, it will send the other 70% of your list the subject line which had the highest open rate. Underneath, you have sender details. You can specify what the name of the sender of this email will be. This will be who the recipients will see the email come from, as well as the email address of who it comes from as well. If you want replies to this email to go to an email address other than the sender address, you can type in an alternative. The very last option here will be for specifying your recipients. Again, you can choose different mail groups, specific email contacts, or event-related contacts. In this case, we're going to add a mail group. Click Insert and it will tell you the amount of contacts in your particular list or in that particular event filter. Once you've added contacts to send to or not send to, you'll be able to click Publish. When you click to publish, you'll also be sent a confirmation email just to ensure that you have all the right publishing settings in place. If you do go ahead and publish your document and it's scheduled to go out in future, it will appear in the publishing queue. So that wraps up the previewing, testing, and publishing functionality of the Composer module.